Did you ever doubt yourself when you were young that, oh, this is not going to work out for me?
I had never any doubts, not a moment of doubt that I'm not going to make it. I just left with hardly 1,400 rupees in the bank, a new bride. For 2 years, I didn't see a single movie. Sometimes I feel I should have done a bit of more partying. My practice went up by 4 times overnight.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, then I went to the base camp. I went to Everest base camp. I trekked to the base camp. So again, there I set a goal. I'm going to go to base camp. Then I trained for 90 days.
Ladies and gentlemen, Senior Advocate Arvind P.Datar on Off the Record. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank
It
you.
is
Thank
an
you.
absolute privilege and honor speaking to you, sitting next to you, sir. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much. I'm also looking forward to the interview.
So you have, sir, spoken in the past about how law, or your career in fact, was not an accident. Nothing in it was an accident. And a lot of lawyers often say, not that I'm comparing, but they say that a lot of it happened because of luck or by chance, or an opportunity came in and then things got very suitable for me. So it deviates a little bit from that usual context or conversation that is into the successful advocates talk. So would you like to reflect on that a little bit?
My coming into law also was partly an accident. As I initially wanted to go into the merchant navy like my father, and my ambition was to start my own shipping company.
Oh,
I wanted to call it P.Datar International Shipping Company, DISCO.
okay.
So I planned to be a ship owner. But then for the entrance exam at that time, there used to be a T.S. Rajendra was the training ship. And the entrance exam was there, and my academic record was good, so I should have got it, but I was medically disqualified. I had a bit of a surgery the year before, and that disqualified me. And then subsequently, I then took to, because I couldn't do this, and I tried to do engineering. That also didn't succeed because I got into my ranking was very low, so I got in Kharagpur and Banaras at some, not the subjects of my choice.
Right.
And the second day, I also had a major intestinal problem, which I was very critical and serious. So there's no question of leaving home and going elsewhere.
Right.
And then I decided to do science. But the more I got into debating, the more I started liking economics and so on. And then I decided to take up law. I was greatly motivated by what Mr. Palkhiwala was doing. So in my second year of BSc Honours, I decided to take up law. And then from then on, everything has been planned. Then thereon, nothing is accident. But entering the law was but for my medical, this thing, I would have been in the merchant navy, or perhaps being a ship owner now. So yeah, but no regrets. I'm enjoying myself much more. So but once I joined law, then everything was systematically planned. Then nothing happened by accident.
So when you say systematically planned, sir, I want to go into the depth of it a little bit, because it is important for young people also to know how do we really structure that planning, that discipline, if that's what you want to call it, the word. What is the right way to strategize and then look at the profession if they want to be as accomplished as you? Firstly, that. And of course, secondly, I'd like to ask you, how is it that you felt when you were younger, a young counsel? Did you ever doubt yourself when you were young that, oh, this is not going to work out for me? Was there a point?
On the second point, I had never any doubts. I had never, not a moment of doubt that I'm not going to make it. It was, I mean, I still tell the youngsters, young lawyers, that if you work hard and plan it systematically, you cannot fail in this profession. I've been talking to people in national law schools and other law schools and so on, and I've tried to tell them that you must have a course in goal setting, in time management, because how many of you set goals that, okay, I'm going to do this at this point of time? What is a goal? Goal is a dream with a deadline. So what is your dream? What is the deadline? Nobody does it. So I've been trying in vain to tell people that let's have 2-3 sessions in the second year, third year of college on goal setting, so you can plan what you're doing. And but nobody is interested. I tried to moot it, but so far nobody's interested in that topic at all. When I decided to do law, see, now coming to planning, once I decided to be a lawyer, I decided to be a tax lawyer. Now for tax lawyer, I knew you should have knowledge of accounting. So I decided to do law in the morning and cost accounting in the evening. I couldn't do chartered accountancy because it will require going for audits to various places. I didn't want to give any. I could not have done both. So I did law in the morning. I did cost accounting in the evening, which are both tough courses. So the accounting was only to be a good tax lawyer. In the initial stages, the salaries which accountants were getting were 10, 15 times what a lawyer was getting in those days. But I never bothered even to apply for a single job. I knew I'm going to do law, I'm going to do taxation. I also was told that it's better to have a grounding in civil law. So in college, the first year of law college, I said I'll do 1 year of civil law, I'll do 3 years of tax law, and on the fourth day of my enrollment, I'll start my own practice. And I did exactly that. So I did 1 year in civil. I was blessed with wonderful seniors. My senior, Mrs. Ramani Natarajan, she guided me. Then I joined the best tax office in Madras, a very good tax office, where I learnt enormously. So you can plan. Now I tell people, everybody wants to do an LLM abroad.
Right.
Why do you want to do it? No answer. I want to see the world. I want to get experience. It makes no sense. So I tell people that you be clearly what you want. Maybe you can't decide civil criminal, but at least have some plan where you want to go. So I was very clear I wanted to be a tax lawyer. And so at that time I set a goal that I'll be 1 year in the civil office, 3 years in the tax office. And I joined the bar on 27th of February 1980. And as per my plan, on 1st March 84, I gave in my resignation letter to my firm, and my senior was shocked. But I just left with hardly 1,400 rupees in the bank, a new bride, but I had said the thing. Another thing which people should know is once you make a decision, and there's no going back. Then that weakens you personally. So once you say, I'm going to do this at this point of time, then that is non-negotiable. It has to be done whatever happens. So I set up this thing. Then again, I set a target of writing a book before I'm 30, a nationally known book. Because in law, how do you get yourself known?
Right.
You can't market, you can't advertise. So I read a book by O.C. Mazengab called Advice to Young Lawyers, where he said, write articles, get known. The only way you'll get known is write articles. So when I set up my independent practice, zero work, not a single brief, but I just started doing. So the only way to earn money was taking classes and lectures and articles.
Right.
Now, it so happened that I'll take it in two parts. One is lectures and one is classes. One is articles. I got very high marks in my intermediate cost accounting in law. So my teacher said that, would you like to teach? Because I was very active in debating also. I said, yeah, I'd like to teach.
Right.
So in 1980, when I just got enrolled, within 3 months of enrollment, I became a part-time faculty in mercantile law. And it will be interesting to your readers to know that in 1980, I used to have one class in the morning from 6:30 to 8:30. So I would get up at 4, change, take 2 buses, go to the class. And we used to get 25 rupees for 2 hours. It's unbelievable. One coffee cost you 200-300 rupees.
Yes.
So 25 rupees for 2 hours, you would get the class. Yeah. And I joined as a junior. My salary was 100 rupees a month. And then I would work the whole day. Then again in the evening, take one more class. I used to teach in the Cost Accounting Institute in the morning, company secretaries or chartered accountants in the evening. So 25, then it became 50 rupees a lecture. So lectures were there. And I took lectures as one way of understanding and knowing the subject.
Right.
So my lectures in taxation were very, very helpful to me because my class would have 400 students. At that time, the Southern India Regional Council was the only training center. So you had students from Kerala, Andhra, etc., who would stay in a lodge and study. So in my class, there would be 400 students.
Wow.
And for many, many years, people would come and say, "Sir, I was in your class." Yeah. So that was lectures. Then articles. I said, if I had to write an article, I set a goal of writing 1 article a week. Because I was getting, at that time, 300 rupees. And I just engaged a stenographer who had to pay 150 rupees a month. So 50% of my salary was to this stenographer. And my mother said, no, you take it, money will come. So how to make everything done. So I started set a target of writing an article a week. And I did that. I mean, in 104, 2 years, I wrote 77 articles.
Oh, wow.
Week after week after week. So, and then later also I used to write. So that writing was a big thing. And then I decided to write a nationally known book by the time I was 30. I didn't want to write something on Tamil Nadu Rent Act. It had to be a nationally known book.
Right.
Now what to write? If I write on income tax, we had giants like Palkhiwala, Sundaram, Sampath Iyengar. So it will be holding a candle against the sun. Then, now you talk of blue ocean strategy, but I read a book called The Zulu Principle by Jim Slater, where he said that you got to have a niche area where there's not much of competition. You got to have a niche area where it's uncrowded.
Okay.
By God's grace, Central Excise tariff came in 86.
Okay.
The tribunal started and it was virtually uncharted territory. So I said, let me take, it's also taxation. So I decided to write a book on excise, nationally known book. Then my publisher said, can you write it with a judge? I said, no, I'll either write it myself or no. So we wrote the book and I wanted to finish the book in 86 when I would have turned 30. But I had some copyright issues with it about getting things and all. So I wrote it, it came by 88. So what I'm trying to tell you is that unless you set clear goals, nothing is going to happen.
Right.
Success is never accidental. So when you ask planning, so all this systematic planning I did. Yeah.
Do you think, sir, of course, there is planning and there is some sort of goal setting that is required. But you are a first generation lawyer and you have self-built your practice also. In today's day and age, there is a lot of conversation about access. There's a lot of conversation about networks within the profession also. Is it possible to do the first generation building practice of the level that you did in today's day and age without that networking and access building?
Oh yes, today it's much easier because you got AI, you got computers. When I wrote the book, we had these old, I'm much older. We had no, no computers. I had a manual typewriter.
Oh.
And my first book, the manuscripts were 18 kilos of raddi I sold, old proofs and everything had to be retyped. There's nothing.
Yes.
The printing was in a Seatronic machine. You get that negative, it will be dried with a hypo. One mistake, the whole thing has to be torn off. Yeah.
Yes.
There's nothing of the kind. So today it's magic. Now today, if I had to change the footnotes, everything would be a nightmare changing the footnotes. Then put 49A, put 50B. Now the machine takes care of the footnotes, takes care of spell check. So today it's much easier to do what I did.
Right.
Only people have to plan it that way. And well, I have been very skeptical about this access and network and business development, all these new jargons I don't know. And I don't even think that is a very good thing in my opinion, because the thing is, you have to be so good that people will come to you. Don't access to get work. Be so good that work will come to you.
Right.
Yeah, not that, it's okay. People then join various organizations, Rotary, Chambers of Commerce and so on, and spend time networking in the evenings and so on. Each has got his own views. Some people may find it, but I think it's better to focus completely on your practice.
So more of a practice which is built on persuasion or your own skills?
Yes. And it's enormous sacrifice. There is, when I wrote my book, 86 November, I started writing. In fact, I started writing the book on the Grand Trunk Express to Delhi. I was coming for the Grand Lodge function. I'm Freemason. So my father flew. I didn't have money, so I came by Grand Trunk Express, GT to Delhi. And I started writing the book on the train. And it came out in 88. And then for 2 years, I didn't see a single movie. So all those things, why I'm saying not to boast, but I'm just saying that there is so much of reward at the end of the thing. And I was told several times, the day my book released, my practice went up by 4 times overnight. And whoever has written a book has done well. I've told youngsters, a few people have followed my advice, but it's a good way you get the mastery.
Yeah.
When I wrote the book, I actually read 2100 judgments cover to cover. So I learned a lot.
Right.
I wrote it. So once the book is there, you are a reasonable authority on the subject. So I think more than access and networking, building domain expertise, suppose you're doing cyber law, you're doing any say securities law. Getting an absolute foundation on that is very, very important.
So I do get the sense that, and you've also said in the past that you had read a quote from a 1930 EIR where a lawyer, I don't remember the name now.
Bunsen Agarwala.
Ji. And you had said that this particular lawyer had written that the lawyers the standards are going down in the profession.
Standards going down, there's malpractice, there are touts and so on, yeah.
So this is back in 1930. And these conversations about standards going down even continue today. So you're saying that the standards have stayed the same and the ways of working in the profession and the way people should be vouching or going forward towards success stays the same. But conversations change around them. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is, it's right from Plato's time. If you read Plato's book, he says that the youngsters have gone amok. They're chasing women, they're drinking and all that. That was written by Plato in 2500 BC or whatever. So this kind of, the whole system is going to the dogs and everything is always very nice. But I think it's futile. I never say that because I think that the youngsters today are much brighter than what we were. We are in a much better position than what we were. And you see, look at it practically. By just complaining, what are you going to get? You're just whining. And these are things you have no control. I mean, what's the point in saying that this corruption here, what can you do about it? You can do nothing. You just put your head down and keep working. So spending time and berating the system and saying country has gone to the dogs, the system is gone, judges are corrupt, police is corrupt, taxman is corrupt. What's the outcome? Zero. Just wasting time, which is the most precious thing.
So talking about the structures that exist in the judiciary, I want to go over your recent Indian Express article, sir, quickly, where you've spoken about the Deng Xiaoping radical change that is required for economic growth. Structural shifts are required for better economic growth in the country. I'm not somebody who has a niche in the space of taxes and policy and everything. So I want to ask that question from the perspective of judiciary. If you were to equate that particular model with the judiciary's shifts that are required, especially with all the pendency and everything that's going around, and for better investor growth or better revenue protection, what is it that you would suggest? Could you put the same model in the judiciary as well, a radical change, so as to speak?
Actually, I was reading the biography of Deng Xiaoping. And, today we are in a bit of an economic crisis. The Prime Minister has called for austerity measures. The rupee is falling down. Investments are slowing down. So it's a bit of a difficult situation we are in right now. And I was reading this on the flight. A remarkable man. It was communist China. Everything is nationalized. Nothing is privatized. And in the Cultural Revolution, 30 million people died. There's massive poverty. So this Deng, what I admired about, I found it very fascinating was, they sent these delegations to different countries, high-level delegations to Europe, and they came back and then they prepared a report because Deng told them that these three principles I think will work for the judiciary also. He said that first, acknowledge that you're backward. Acknowledge that there is a problem. We can't call ourselves fully backward. We are partly developed, but we are not backward like some sub-Saharan African country. But you're talking of Deng in the context of judiciary, so I'll take it to that. Secondly, acknowledge that your existing methods are inappropriate. And thirdly, he says, let us adopt the capitalist methods of Western countries. So it's like church saying that let us believe in atheism. It's so radical for communist China to say, because that was a need of the hour. Applying it to the judiciary, we should acknowledge what's the problem, areas. Then what are our systems? Are they appropriate or not? And how do we change? So that I didn't think of Deng in the context of the judiciary, but I think you're right. It's a good idea. You can take those three principles and apply it anywhere else.
You've also spoken in the past about how it is very difficult to convince a judge who comes with a preconceived ideology or a preconceived notion. Do you mean a political ideology or do you mean a preconceived notion?
No, actually, what happens is, what I'm saying is just not a judge. All of us have got some basic baggage we come with. Like, when I was a junior, they would say some judges are pro-landlord, some judges are pro-tenant, some judges are pro-revenue, pro-SSC. This talk has been all along.
Yes.
So there is definitely some kind of a baggage. Even in the West, in American Supreme Court, you say they are Republican judges and they are pro-Republican judges and pro-Democratic judges, like people who are pro-abortion, anti-abortion. These ideologies, they come with them and that stays.
Yes.
Yeah. But that will continue. It's important that some judges or many judges are able to get over that. When they come to the chair, then they forget about the people. They may have been labor lawyers, but then they do pass judgments, keeping in mind the balance thing completely. Yeah.
Right.
There is an unfortunate tendency to tilt more in favor of the state, like in tax matters or in this. In many cases, you have to protect the interests of the revenue. Taxes have to be collected, have to be saved. But also look at what happens to the businessman. Now, I'm just got some cases. I mean, some people are telling me that MSME sector, small businessman, his turnover is 5.5 crores. You give a GST demand of 17 crores. He's never going to survive. Now, what's the point in the High Court judge saying you go and file an appeal? There's something drastically wrong. If your income is 10 lakhs and you suddenly say your tax liability is 1 crore, then there's something wrong. So there the courts must interfere, and the courts must realize that while you protect the revenue, you must also protect industry, because without industry there is no revenue. Today we have a situation where many youngsters don't want to get into manufacturing to set up a unit because so much of hassle, regulatory pressures, getting a license permit is a nightmare. Then again you keep on getting harassed with tax notices and GST notices. Then the courts must realize that, look, this is a problem which the courts also must step in and protect the business also. Make a balance. You can't simply say I have to protect the revenue.
So it should be more balanced from an investor perspective and a revenue perspective.
Yes. And my basic angst to the government is that the entire policies are completely tax driven. They have to keep on collecting tax. But to collect tax, there must be a business. How much can you milk the cow? Ultimate, and that's what's happening now. And becomes a vicious cycle. Because you've got all these freebies, you have to collect tax, so you keep on making more and more demands. That keeps on reducing the investments. How many industries are simply shut down?
So going over your writing, sir, a little bit now. First, I want to ask you about AI, whether that is something that you use for drafting, for writing, and should youngsters be using that for drafting purposes? Do you use it for writing your books also?
No, I do not, because I've just finished I'm almost finishing the commentary on the 3rd edition of my constitution. Then I'll be starting income tax. But one of my plans is to get deep into AI. I'm going to join, I got some friends who run tutorials, who run classes. So I want to join the class. I want to learn AI. And I think we have to really get into AI. I've used it a bit. And what I use, it's absolutely fascinating.
Yes. Absolutely fascinating.
The amount of time you save on research and things like that. Yes. So I've not yet used it, but definitely going forward, the second half of 2026, I'll be using it very extensively.
Great. But do you think youngsters now have it easy with something like a tool called AI, where they can just get quick answers, even about legal research?
Yes, there's a temptation to get a quick answer. Like even in, you got a small headache, you go to Google and put your symptoms and you get...
Yes.
So you got Dr. Google, so you got Dr. AI also. It's sometimes dangerous because the citations can be wrong. Like was writing some article, I wanted to compare US and Indian law. The answer came, but they had missed out 4 important cases. The AI had missed out the 4 important cases. But since I knew the subject, I knew. But it did throw out some very few new perspectives and so on.
Perspectives it adds.
Yeah, it adds. In fact, some of my articles, I was on a holiday and we tried to put my article into one of the AIs. It gave some very good suggestions as to how my opening has to be better and what suggestion. It was very fascinating.
But to even figure out that it doesn't know these 4 case laws, you also need to know more, sir. The fact that you knew that this is what's missing.
You see, I'll put it this way, to use a cliche. I mean, AI is a very useful tool, but a dangerous master.
Right.
Yes, you can't leave it. You can just take it as a help.
What about, just thinking out loud, what about using AI in the judiciary? Do you think judges can be replaced with AI robots or something like that?
No, they may not be able to be replaced. But there are some areas where AI, suppose for example in motor accident claims, now you know that there are basic multipliers that if you have 40% injury and your salary is so much and you have two dependents, if you have all these parameters, your compensation will be say 8 lakhs. There are definite formula laid down by the courts and by the act. Maybe you can feed that and you can find out.
Yes, it'll cut a lot of pendency
Possible.
perhaps.
We can do on a trial basis. Definitely it's like for example, even after we got the computers and the SCC things on CDs and so on, research became so much easier.
Right. What about bail orders, sir? Just thinking out of the box. Because bail orders nowadays are very descriptive. People say that they are very descriptive. They should be point to point about the issue and the order should be passed. Do you think that can also be done through AI?
I don't know whether all bail orders. See, sometimes it's a complicated case, then they write a detailed order, because if you don't write a detailed order, the High Court or Supreme Court will say there's no reasoning given and so on. So
Yes.
they pass on order. But talking of AI, it is good for research. I'm told in the US, they put these parameters and they find out what's a possible outcome of the case.
Yes.
They try to suggest for arguments. I've not gone into that, but I think it's good for research and you have to stop with that for the time being. I don't think it can replace the judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of judges are also very hesitant about using AI. I think that hesitation is coming from being dispensable or feeling dispensable with AI. I mean, just
I don't know.
an offhand comment.
No, I see what I personally feel is any technology is 10 steps forward and 3 steps backward. There'll always be some backside. When I was a junior, when computers first came, there were strikes saying that computers will completely make people unemployed. There were strikes by banks and so on and so on. But ultimately, it generated many jobs. There was a small downturn. Like I think AI also will result in loss of jobs, but it will again pick up. There'll be lots of new skills
Yes.
for people with knowing AI.
Yes. And what about your writings, sir? When you're writing, do you of course said that I do put it in AI and I found it very fascinating.
No, what I did was, we just did a search of my articles in Indian Express,
Right.
and then it gave me its opinion about my articles, which
Oh,
I found
right.
fascinating.
All right.
So it said you have written 94 articles or something like that, and these are the comments about it, and these are the patterns I find. And then we put a prompt, how can we improve? And it gave some very good suggestions. I was quite amazed at the suggestions we got.
Do you think, sir, non-fiction is also something that you'd be interested in? Do you read non-fiction or?
I read only non-fiction.
And what about fiction writing? Is that something?
No, I did actually extensive fiction, but then I stopped when I started practice. In law college, I should read, voracious reader of fiction, but now because of time constraints, I read only non-fiction.
Right.
And then at a phase when I was a young lawyer, I was more into biographies, to study great lawyers, what were their patterns, how did they work, what methods they followed. Because as they say, success leaves clues.
Yes.
You study a successful person, and if you analyze his life, you can see some patterns. And if you follow the same steps, you'll reach also equally good results.
In fact, sir, you said at one of your speeches also, I think at a conference, that you would also interviewed people to find out about what they had done to be that successful when you were a youngster, like a young lawyer. Is that true?
Yes, I was very. What happened was when I was in law college, unfortunately, the first year was emergency, where the classes went on time. It was a absolutely thing. The second year, emergency was lifted, and again we had strikes, and classes were not held on time, and again it became a lack of. My luck was that the Madras Law College, which is a gorgeous old building, is just next to the High Court. I mean, we just cross the gate and enter the High Court. So whenever there would be a strike or the lecturer was not coming, I would just rush across and go and sit in the court and watch lawyers. And then I would follow. I would say, oh, Mr. Sirwa is coming, Mr. So-and-so is coming. So I'd go and I'd take a notebook and make notes. I would study how they are arguing, how they're putting their points.
Right.
So I'd keep on observing. Yeah. And I also got to use the High Court library. My father knew, I think, some judges, and they were quite curious that this young boy wants to read books. So I got permission to use the judges' library, as in the law college. And I used to sit there because the college would be on strike. So I would not sit in the coffee shop. I would come to the High Court. And there were a series of books called Notable British Trials, all important trials, how they were conducted. So I would read those books, make notes, How
Right.
did they argue the cases and so on? Then there's two books on lives of Lord Chancellors, a blue volume and a red volume. I studied the life chancellors, what steps they took. Like Rufus Isaacs would get up at 4 o'clock and write till 8. So all these things I kept studying, and
Right.
I would try to implement what I could.
And even personally, I think that your courtroom personality is not loud. It is very persuasive, and it is not a loud personality. Nowadays, you see a lot of theatrics happening in court. So you don't. Is that deliberate? Is that something that is your personality intrinsically only?
Yes, yes. I mean, I'm not a very. I don't shout and loud and all that, and it doesn't serve the client. I mean, I find it more in Delhi. I'm sorry to say, where the aggressiveness is far, far more. For a simple adjournment, you start screaming as if the world is going to come to an end. I think that's what I find here, and in my experience, it doesn't pay. I mean, what's the point in shouting? After all, somebody's case, somebody wants an adjournment. Be soft, be polite. And just think of the judge. If somebody keeps talking at 100 decibels, what happens to the poor judge?
Right. Maybe it's the weather, sir. It's already 43 degrees outside.
And again, when I studied all the great lawyers, I found that no great lawyer has screamed and succeeded. It's always polite, persuasion.
Right. And I mean, law is very intellectually stimulating. Yes, everybody says that. Lawyers who are established love the law. It is also very isolating in terms of the academic rigor it requires. Is there something that you do beyond the courtrooms that you enjoy doing to keep the momentum going professionally, personally?
Oh, yes, yes. Of course, law is, especially writing, is very, very lonely. You just sit by yourself for hours and hours and just write. So it can, but I enjoy the process, but it is a very lonely, you can't say it's lonely, it is more of solitude is required.
Yes.
And outside the law, yes, I read a lot of fiction. I'm connected to the Palkela Foundation. We are in lectures. I like to travel a lot. I've done some treks. Yeah, my wife and I took part in the Himalayan car rally.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, then I went to the base camp. I went to Everest base camp. I trekked to the base camp. So again, there I set a goal. I'm going to go to base camp. Then I trained for 90 days. It all went as per plan.
That's very important. I think that goal setting, that okay, these 90 days I have to train and then go for a hike, and then you...
Yeah, otherwise if you go to base camp, you'll be you'll exhausted. You'll have to be heli lifted and brought to Kathmandu in a hospital. So you have to be very careful.
Right.
Because pulmonary edema or cerebral edema is very common. So that's what I'm saying. So outside the law, I've been really enjoying all these things. I love traveling.
Right. Right. So one ritual which is anchored you, which is non-negotiable in the profession that you implement daily, one specific ritual that you may have?
One specific is my day is planned. I know exactly what I'm going to do tomorrow. I know exactly what I'm going to do on Thursday. By and large, of course, things get upset. But I typically like to plan the day before.
Right.
So before retiring, I broadly know what is going to happen. And between 10 and 4 is court time, where you don't know what will happen. A case will get adjourned and so on. So I keep that flexible. But the mornings and evenings, I keep it as structured as possible.
So you write it down in a diary, or you put it in your phone?
Yeah. Write it down.
Wonderful. Great.
You block your time, you box your time. There are so many techniques. Time blocking is there, time boxing is there. It's a huge field by itself. Very fascinating.
So can I now ask you some rapid fire questions? So one constitutional bench judgment every law student must read.
Kishan Bharati.
One quality more important than brilliance in a lawyer.
Integrity and honesty. Yeah.
Tax law or constitutional law, which reveals India more honestly?
Tax law or constitutional law reveals India. I think constitutional law shows the better side of India. Tax law shows the worst part of India.
Right. And I've seen you in constitutional matters also. Recently, you argued the Sabrimala case.
Part
also.
of it, yeah.
Yeah, it was
only
really
one part. Only on constitutional morality argued. Yeah.
Yes. One overrated courtroom habit.
One overrated courtroom habit of lawyers.
Even judges is good if you'd like to point something out.
Overrated courtroom habit is having a godfather or thinking that you'll have a godfather. That's not going to work out. Yeah. But habit in the sense, I don't know, how do you call a habit? Habit is something which you have on. Overrated is perhaps trying to bluster your way through, be aggressive unnecessarily. That's highly overrated. You think that if you argue aggressively, you will succeed, which I don't think works in the long run.
even that Godfather part, I think I get what you mean. When people are trying to showcase that, oh, this is where I come from, and then they push that, and that becomes a habit within the professional circles.
Yes.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Some people, yes.
Okay. A lawyer you still admire deeply.
I do admire Palkhiwala. I admire Sirwai. I admire Ram Jethmalani for his advocacy. So many people, these are the 3-4 people I really admire. Yeah.
One thing young lawyers misunderstand about success.
Actually, success is what they misunderstand about success.
Yes.
That success will come by just working hard. It's not going to work. You have to plan. Success is a full formula. It's not just that you keep working hard, you'll get it, or you join some big firm, you'll be successful. No, you have to really plan well. What they don't understand about success is what are the ingredients of success.
So strategy. You also said, what am I? Don't ask. Ask what will I be. In the past, you said this.
Yes.
So strategize everything.
Yeah, don't say that who am I? So asking who am I, the more important question is who can I be?
Yes. One economic reform India should have made 20 years ago.
This should have gone free market, completely free market, and abandoned socialism long back. Completely wrong.
Your most overused phrase in court.
So many of them. Perhaps, I don't know what overused phrase, and this is really, you fox me, I don't know what overphrase. Well, perhaps sometimes I tend to repeat myself, or I keep on saying, as your lordship knows, these phrases you keep on using. Yeah.
A lot of lawyers keep saying that.
Keep saying that. Yeah,
yes. Yeah. One quick question also, sir. One advice you would give your 25-year-old self?
But I don't know, because I can only say that use time better, use time more productively, and eliminate a lot of the unnecessary stuff. All that helps you in the profession is signal, everything else is noise. So try to cut the noise as much as possible. Let 80% of your time be spent on your profession and less than 20% on other things.
Right. So productivity over everything.
Yes. Of course, at 25, it's also, that's the time you enjoy yourself.
Yes.
So it's also very difficult. You want to go and have a drink, you've got friends and you party and so on. That also is important. But you have to make a proper balance. Sometimes what happens is that becomes the norm and then you suffer.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think you got to enjoy yourself also. You can't just be a nerd all the time. Yeah. Sometimes I feel I should have done a bit of more partying.
So I think everybody has that regret at every point of their lives.
They should have partied more, enjoyed.
Yes. Thank you, sir. It was an absolute pleasure to speak to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. God bless.